So there is a force in the world, and it's an ordained force. We can call it all sorts of names, and we can easily get hysterical about it, but it's just a force that we either use or we be used by. We can either consume it or it will consume us, but we can't if we don't understand it. We've got to understand what this force is. And obviously, since I've had lots of epiphanies and stuff, I start to see that force around. I start to see it acting through people. I see people's personalities change. I see the masks that people put on. It's one of the gifts of expanded awareness, is that you see it in other people. You still recognise bits of it in yourself as well. But that force is out there. And that force is good if we're able to recognise it and use it. In esoteric practice, they call it feeding the bear. The question is, are you feeding the bear or is the bear feeding you? So in other words, when these energies rise up in the form of gossip, in the form of anger, in the form of violence, are we engaging it and feeding it, or are we able to observe it and consume it in the volition of, if you get a look at that, this book here is that energy which was partly in me. There was a partner in me, and the energy's out there. That energy has been transformed into something spiritual. This book is full of truth because it is that energy converted into from the material into the spiritual. So I've converted it. I've made something powerful with it. Right. Every time you do a program like this, that's what you do. You convert in the material into the spiritual. So that's what I recognised, and I felt tremendous compassion for him. But I recognised that he'd put this parasite in me when I was 11, and by the time I started to deal with it, I was like late 30s, early 40s, and then doing the film with Orlando and stuff like that. So I continued to still get parts of it out of me, even to 3 years ago, working with Orlando, when he was going through the scenes and saying, why does he do this? Why is this guy raping himself? Why is this guy abusing himself sexually? Why is he acting out and battering people when they come too close? Why is he pushing his girlfriend away? Why won't he talk to his mom and tell her what happened? And he was saying, he was like I said, he was like a pin in a crab shell trying to pull the last bits out. I must have been with him for 10 hours. Basically. Yeah, 10 hours. He was so professional and so meticulous, and I was in agony. He doesn't know this. I don't think Paul and Ludwig know this, because I would have just come across as I am now, just as I am. But I have the ability to be able to see these forces and these energies and observe them, and even though they're compelling me to go away and not to do anything, I can still make the burnt sacrifice. I can still make the animal sacrifice. So when I sat with Orlando, he became a big part of this atonement. So there's little bits of this parasite were still hovering around, and the situation when I was working with Orlando drew it out, because he's a Hollywood star. He's doing a small indie film. The film would have cost him money to do because we didn't have a big budget, and he wants absolutely the best of it. And he spent hours and hours and hours with me, asking me, "Why does he do this? Why does he do that? Read that to me again. Read that to me again." And I realised when I went to his house and I was working with him, I recognised energies around me. There was angelic spirits around me which I could feel, and they were encouraging me. Bring this out. Bring this home. We want you to come home. You can't come home while you've still got those obscurations in you. So he helped me to draw it out. It's exactly the same when I did the thing with Guy Richie. He did a documentary Guy Richie did a documentary on the ego. And I had a phone call out of the blue asking me would I get involved in it. My friend Judo Jim said, he's a friend of Guy Richie, he said, Guy's doing a documentary about the ego. And he wants to know whether you'll get involved. He said there's something missing in it. He said he's got some great people in it. He's got Sam Harris in it. He's got Eckhart Tolle in it. He's got Deepak Chopra in it. He's got these amazing people. He said, but there's something missing. He needs a troublemaker. That's what Guy Richie called me, a troublemaker. And I said, Guy Richie rang me up and I said, can I have a look at what you've done? And I'll just see whether I fit, see whether I've got anything to say. And he was right. There was just a piece of the jigsaw that I could offer my place to. But I remember sitting outside his house before I went in, and just this rush of terror in my body. You can't go and do that. Sam Harris is on this. He's like a white shark. He's an intellectual white shark. He'll eat you up and spit you out for breakfast. You got Eckhart Tolle on this. He's the master. You got Deepak. You're out of your league. You got Guy Richie. You're going to go in there. He's going to humiliate you. He's going to show you how little you know. All of these voices. And I was going, yeah. Well, I'm going in anyway. And I went in and I had a wonderful time with Guy Richie. He was like you. He just looked after me. I went in and I knew he had my best interest at heart. And I became a big part of this documentary that he's doing. It hasn't been released yet, but the amount of opposition I had rising up in me. If there's opposition, then there's opportunity.